children. One of my best friends was half Indian and half American, and her husband was black. Now, he infected Kwan, and of course she had no idea, and Kwan infected her daughter. She decided that she wanted to work with that Indian heritage, American Indian heritage, and she got very involved in sweat lodges and things like that, and she opened up a lot of people's heads. I was able to get people to actually come in the Bronx and Brooklyn and every place but Staten Island to do community education. We had parties, and it was wonderful because we brought in some of the fathers that had been separated because it was such a powerful thing. It was perfect for the kids. There was a father that hadn't seen his son who was positive, but he came in. And when we went to find Bush's house and demonstrate, it took all day, but we found him, and people were really happy. And that, you want to know how bad it was? We got a bus, a yellow school bus to take us. The driver got lost, and there were like maybe 10, 12 parents and a couple of kids on the bus along with the active people. And the driver is like, I'm lost. I said, you can't get lost. These people have never made it to this area, and we're going to a demonstration. This is major. Yes?
When did you actually move down here?
I moved down in 2001. At that point, I was exhausted. Parents had gone in different directions. The board was disintegrating because they wanted to get, like Magic Johnson put out a call for request for a proposal. Roger, the father, came to me and said, oh, look, you can write a proposal, Emily. I said, have you opened this and looked at it? They want 5 years of tax receipts from the bank. You don't just, nobody just gives you money. They give it to established places. But we were running out of money, and people were being diffused. My friend Michelle brought her daughter to the Smithsonian, and they did things, about Michelle and her daughter. It was just, I felt like we had done a lot, but there was nobody else to take over, and the people were just going in different directions.
Did you know when the medicine AZT started to become available?
That was a gigantic problem. Most of my parents, the women who were positive, they did not want to take the AZT. We had a pediatric specialist that was young and very motivated toward drugs. And that doctor came and spoke to them 3 times and said, this is going to save your children's lives. They said, we've been living with this virus for about 6-7 years now, and we feel terrible, and how do we know you're not going to give us something that will cause our baby to not even be born or have many, many deformities? They didn't want to do it. And there was a conflict because the pediatric consultant, Eric, went back and told ACT UP, he said, I don't think this group is a good idea. We should just let them come to meetings if they want to come, which meetings started at 7 and ended at 11, and Emily just is listening to the parents, and she's not listening to the doctors. Interestingly enough, in a history thing, someone came down here and interviewed me, and the one question that they really wanted to know about was, why was I so against AZT? I wasn't against AZT. But the whole point of what I was doing was to get the parents networking with each other. So I'd get midnight phone calls. He's throwing up, he's got this, he's got that. And I'd say, well, how do you feel about going to the hospital? No, I think I'll wait till the morning. Well, have you talked to so-and-so? Why don't you mothers help mothers? Why is it always professionals telling people what to do?
It's June 5th, 2017. Why are you telling your story now?
I want to tell the story because there's always it's a good question. There's always going to be people that see problems and they moan and groan about them and they don't do anything. If you see problems with people being cut off of food and essentials or medical care, you have to do something. And especially now that I'm in North Carolina, because it doesn't have that activist lean. It has whatever happens, happens.
Your experience is activist.
I did 5 years in Mississippi. I went to Wounded Knee. I went to everything, People's March in California. I've been an activist all my life. And it's repeating. Everything is repeating. And I know John Lewis, and he's still out there and he's still fighting, and I'm amazed that he does that.
How did the people of North Carolina respond to you?
But when I came down here, I talked to people at the hospital. It's all under control, Emily. Why are you bothering us? Are you HIV positive? That's the response. You know, I went to family medicine. I talked to some of the students. I said, you know, I have this history, and I'm just wondering what's happening, you know, with pediatric HIV and AIDS. Oh, we've got it under control. How old are you again? You know, it's a dismissal, sort of, you know. But when I read that thing about Jackson, Mississippi, literally this guy who's positive himself has got this beat up car, and he gets a small pittance, and he's driving all over, taking people to hospitals, taking people to get food, and the people are so depressed that the guy flat out said, I hate that you came because I was going to go cop weed because that's all I'm doing today.
What would you like to be done now? You had your druthers. What would you like to be done right now?
I would like this nation to wake up to the fact that we have a second epidemic, and it's primarily in the South, and it's primarily among Black and Latino people, and there are no resources, and they're just being told, take your welfare check and get out of our face.
And what role do you think you can play in this?
As a resource person, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. When I thought about doing this, I didn't want to do something that I had done like in Mississippi and stuff. I wanted to do this one thing, Just Kids Foundation. Mm-hmm. And I want it to be a model because ACT UP has a model. You know, when you came in, you knew exactly what was going to happen in the meeting. They had medical committees, they had people planning demonstrations. And the only southern thing I had was when we came down here and we were demonstrating against Burroughs Welcome. And at the international conferences, we went there and we were so frustrated with the prices that people were just kicking over tables of the drug people, and it's the same thing all over again. I want this to be a model for that.